Hey everybody, welcome back. These are some people that got their sweet revenge on their salty bosses. This was posted in Petty Revenge. Dumb boss cut my hours and lost his job. So from the age of 16 to 20, I worked at a 24-hour fast food joint. After having worked there for so long, I was very good at what I did, to the point that I could handle the entire store by myself as long as I needed, with little to no drops in customer satisfaction or speed. When I was 19, my grandfather got sick, which was really hard because I loved him to bits. My boss and I were close, so we worked out a deal where he would schedule me a ton and I would essentially be on call for any time he needed someone to cover a shift. I would also work a straight 24-hour shift on Monday, busiest day. A straight 24-hour shift? This sounds like slave labor to me. Like, what do you mean? Doctors work 24-hour shifts. I bet you were getting paid minimum wage too. Oh God, you were 19. That is insanity. Being alone for 8 hours, these piled on hours resulted in me getting around 10 to 15 hours of overtime per week, sometimes more. Okay, I guess maybe it might have been worth it for you, sort of. This actually saved him money because one guy working for 17 bucks an hour at time and a half was cheaper than paying 3 guys 15 an hour to do the same work, allowing him to make way bigger profits. This allowed him more leeway and rep with corporate, meaning he would get bigger bonuses, and he could give me a raise after around 6 months, citing how well I worked. The other part was that I got a week off a month to visit my grandfather and assist him with his care or anything else I needed, while the extra money allowed for me to help pay for his treatment. Okay, so you're basically this guy's bitch, but I guess he is giving you a week off per month. I can't decide if it's worth it or not, even as it is. Our agreement went on for a year before he was promoted to regional manager, which was a big jump. He got the raise because our store was making like 15% more than the next highest performer, while being in a less traveled area. The new manager who took over for him was a piece of shit. Honestly, the amount of stories that I have heard personally from people who were so great at their jobs. They had an amazing boss that loved them, had experience with them. They'd been through it all together and they treated them well. And then this boss maybe retires or he gets promoted. And then the guy that replaces him or gal that replaces him is a complete asshat. My manager told him of our deal and he scoffed and said it was dumb because of how much overtime he would be paying me. My boss just shrugged, because even if the store's performance dropped, he would look better. And so my hours were lowered to like 30 a week, yet he was still calling me and scheduling me so low for 8 hours in full 24-hour shifts. Absolutely not! So I was working crap hours but getting paid less. He also stopped the week off a month so I couldn't see my grandfather. See, the thing is you seem to be in a position where, because you're pretty much the only one that works there, if you leave, that store is kaput. Yes, people are replaceable, but not if they're the only employee you have. So I quit, and he soon realized how he was. As I heard from my boss, the store profits dropped to 15% lower than the next lowest store in the region rather than the district. And the new GM was shortly fired for somehow dropping 125% in profits. And the guy tried to blame me for quitting. Nothing fancy. I just put in my 2 weeks notice, but I thought it was funny. It is indeed funny. That makes me super, super happy. I find it funny that he tried to blame everything on you, but it's like you were the key to that store having such high profits. If anything, he should have made you happy. You were happy with things as they were. Like, to me, that seems like a lot of work. That seems like a lot. But you were happy with it, and that's what matters, okay? All this manager had to do was keep you happy. And he couldn't even do that. Low-level employee quits and profits go down like the Titanic. Corporate wasn't buying it. I mean, yeah, no, that's a him problem. This is what we learned during COVID. Low-level employees are essential. High-level ones, not so much. Well, most of us learned it. Corporate and executives didn't learn so much. I heard this quote somewhere, and I don't really know where I heard it, but if you can't do the jobs of the lower-level employees, as a boss, there is something wrong with you. You should be able to take on the work of all of your lower level employees. Should they quit? Should they get fired? Whatever. And if you can't do that, that's your fault.
Tell me about a time where your boss was an utter dickhead.
So I've got a pretty juicy story for this. At the start of 2021, I left a pretty secure job for a job in the esports community, and it was to produce a new show, which basically was like Gogglebox meets gaming. Pretty fun idea, and we had some great celebrities lined up. Everything was going really well. It was a small team, it was a startup company, and it was basically my dream job. And I had the flexibility of like working from home because we didn't have a studio and we're all based around the country. And at the time, my boss seemed to just be like, you know what, I employ people who do their job really well so that I don't have to do my job. That bullshit. So after months of prep and planning, blah, 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 it got to May. Yeah. And we had filmed the first episode, went live, everything was great. I'm ready for the second one. And that's where things started to go very wrong. I did something that my boss didn't seem to like. I did an edit of a video that went out on social media. It didn't even go out anywhere. I followed his list of like what he wanted and stuff, and oh my God, hell broke loose. And I was then just bombarded with so many insults to my character and to my work ethic. But these weren't just like normal, like negative feedback you get on a piece of work. These were just disgusting comments. I got things like, you would make my dead dad roll over in his grave. You are beige. I just don't think you're very creative. You're not a creative person, blah, 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 blah. And because of all that, I decided that, you know what, there were things that he said that I just can't even get out of my mouth because it's just so grim what he said. But I called my mum and my dad and I was like, I cannot work for this man. This is insane. Over one very small thing, he has just blown up at me and I just cannot work under these conditions. Things then got worse from that. He said because it was a Sunday, I couldn't quit and my 1 week's notice didn't count. And because of me wanting to hand in my notice, he was actually going to extend it so that I had to work 4 weeks. Even though in my contract it said 1 week was fine, he said, I don't care, I'm going to make you work 4 weeks. I'm going to hire a private investigator because I think you've been looking for other jobs. I don't trust you. Even more insults like thrown my way, everything. It was hell. He would call me every single day, to the point where I was so anxious when I saw his name pop up on my phone, I would throw up and I'd have to call him back. I'd purposely miss his call because I was just so terrified of answering the phone. He then forced me to get everything ready for the second episode because I would have put the whole team in trouble, like all this teamwork malarkey that he was throwing at me. Got everything ready for the second episode, arrived on set with everyone. He didn't even turn up. The whole company went under. He knew it was going under. He didn't pay any of us and left.
You know what I smell? I smell a lawsuit. I smell money! You smell that? I smell money. I really, really do. Because what in the actual hell is going on? Okay, here's a thought. Here's a thought from the noggin. I feel like he just like wanted to make the case that everybody else was bad at their job so that he could just like leave. It's kind of like a cheater that's also cheating themselves that's blaming you for cheating, you know? Projection. Because what are you doing? Like what's happening here? Lawyer here, 1 week notice only if that's what the contract says. Stay strong, don't be gaslit. Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of funny that he thinks he can like just go against whatever the contract says. That's when you hit him with,
well, as per my contract.
I'd be happy to get a legal team involved. Watch them freak out. Watch them squirm in their boots. Okay, so interestingly, we actually have a video of her getting fired.
I spotted quite early that unfortunately, your creative skills aren't quite there.
Okay.
You're not the most creative. I think it's quite. I use the word beige in creative.
You think I've been looking for other jobs? You think
that's not lying?
But you think I'm lying that when I say I haven't because I said I haven't, and you think I am?
I've got to take a position on it. You know, I have to take a position on it. Why would you quit a £30,000 a year?
Because I'm not happy, Leo. Notice I would have to send you a letter.
And it's a week.
Okay.
Minimum. I'm actually going to make it 4 weeks.
I got it at like 1 a.m. Sunday morning.
Why didn't you send it to us?
Because I'm conscious it's 1 a.m. Sunday morning. You said it's not a work day, so...
No. When someone quits, it's not a work day.
Right.
So you got 1 a.m. on Sunday morning, but you didn't send it to us until like 11 o'clock on Sunday. What happened at 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 8 a.m., 7 a.m., 6 a.m.?
I was asleep.
Right. Maybe this is a lifestyle thing. It shows me you have no care for anyone moving forward.
I do.
Anyone asks about you and your work, I have to not be very polite. You probably give up too easily.
I don't, because I don't want to fight on it or anything like that. That's why I'm saying
I just fight, because I'll be coming hard.
I don't want that
coming
to happen.
hard.
What's going to happen? Because I think you've lied. And I think you've been looking for jobs in my time, and from Wednesday. Let me finish. Wednesday to Friday, I don't know where you were.
So yeah, there are some things on that call that I couldn't even listen to because they were so horrible. But after that call and up until I arrived on set for the second episode, he made my life hell. He called me every day with abuse on the phone and broke me down. I'm very grateful I've been able to build myself back up with the roles I have now, because I truly nearly lost myself after those months, and especially that phone call. Genuinely, no job, no matter how amazing the money is ever worth that. And I'm glad I kind of stood my ground against him, which I know he hated. I mean, I really did want to see all of these things where you claim he was going to hire a private investigator, because, like, girl, if what you say is true, that's definitely grounds for a lawsuit. Yeah, honestly, my favorite part of this video was contract says 1 week, I'm going to make it 4 weeks. It doesn't work like that! It's in the contract! For sakes! This one's also from Petty Revenge. My boss fired me, so I took his master's and PhD title. I had a rich boss once. That was only rich because of the wealth from his grandparents. Guy was a complete and utter moron. He made nonsensical financial decisions and burned through hundreds of thousands of dollars in completely avoidable mistakes. But because he had money from his ancestors, he just shrugged off these losses and continued. Just because your family has money does not mean that you are smart or good at making money. In fact, it usually means quite the opposite. If you never had to bust your ass for your money, it probably means that you have no idea how to handle money or how to make money. You never needed to. Mommy and daddy and Nono and Nona just came to the rescue. Not all Nepo babies, though. Not all Nepo babies. He also had only but the faintest idea about his company or how to lead or keep employees. I was basically keeping the company together. As such, I was the naysayer that blocked 90% of his stupid plans and decisions. Due to my negativity, I was fired. The guy was also arrogant as hell because he had a master's and PhD in economics. Did we fake our resume? Did we get it from one of those fake universities? Yeah, I don't believe that. I thought, no way in hell can this guy have a master's and PhD. He's so damn stupid. Yeah, no, that's searchable. You can definitely look that up. So I searched for his master's and PhD thesis. I went to the university library, and what a surprise. On the second page of his master thesis, I found a text passage without citation. Wait. Okay. After 40 minutes, I found another 10 passages he copied without citation. I spent only some 20 minutes examining his PhD thesis. I spent some 20 minutes examining his PhD thesis and found 2 cases. I made pictures of the text passages he copied and the books from where he took them and wrote an anonymous email to the university. Oh, he's a cheater. He's a big fat cheater is what he is. I find it very odd that he was even able to get a PhD or a master's if this is how he got through university. Don't they check this stuff? And that's crazy that you found the books where all of these passages came from. You sound smart. A year later, he lost both his master's and PhD because of his plagiarism.
Whoa.
Whoa, not surprising, but How did he even get it in the first place? That is so embarrassing for that university. I know this from the people that still work with him because he exploded. The university just thanked me but told me they can't provide further info due to data protection. So either he had a ghostwriter write it for him who didn't care, or he copied and thought he would never be caught. He wrote both in the 80s. Okay, that's how he did it. Yeah, I was gonna say, because like nowadays, like even I went to university like in the 2000s. There's no way you could get away with that. Like all you had to do is just like Google it. Like Google a passage, or like some profs don't even let you use Wikipedia. Like they want it to be in your own words. They need you to cite everything. Chances are many master's and PhD theses from these times are plagiarized because there were less possibilities to check. After all, imagine it's 1985 and you're at the University of Chicago, and during a trip to Miami, you visit the library and write the thesis there. If you change the title, there's almost a 0% chance that you would ever be caught. Whoa. Learned something new today. Now, I doubt anyone who ever got a master's or a PhD in the 80s went before. But still though, like, yes, you can't check manually, but like these profs know their like inside and out. I just think it's weird. I think it's weird that he was able to get away with that. So if you have stupid bosses / people around you with a degree that are older and did you wrong, it might be worth your time to check their thesis. Ooh. You hear that? You hear that? You know, by the title of this, like I thought that you were saying that you took his title and they gave it to you instead because you're smarter. This is why I don't have a master's or a PhD. Hey, I never said I was smart, okay? Never once did I say I was intelligent. I'm not here putting master's and PhD on my resume. Under promise, over deliver. Honestly, by this account, it kind of seems like it's a lot harder these days to get a degree or to get a PhD. And imagine, some of those people with PhDs are doctors operating on your hearts. Plagiarized PhDs. I would hope that they wouldn't be. Like, I think that maybe doctor is where we draw the line. I think it would be a hard thing for a doctor to fake that they don't have a real PhD or they plagiarized to get it. But still, now I'm questioning everything.
What's the most toxic thing a leader at your company has ever said to you?
Do I have a story for you? First up out of college, I was making 30 grand a year with the promise that, hey, you come in, you do really well, we'll give you a raise. So I put my head down for the year. I made the company $500,000 in profit, which was very big for a small company, small staffing agency, and expected a raise. I go in and ask for my raise. They bumped me to $35,000 a year. Punch in the face. Everyone in management, the owners of the company, all had brand new cars around Christmas. Like they had record high profits. And I wasn't even worth a livable wage. So I'm angry. I end up getting a job off of LinkedIn. Like just fell into my lap. The stars aligned. So I took the job because it was 20 grand more. I go in to put in my 2-week notice. The president of this company sits there for 2 hours belittling me and telling me how I'm going to go nowhere with my life. And mind you, this company had all old white men in management. One of the issues I had was I was like, there's nowhere for me to go unless everyone dies. Like there's no clear career trajectory. I'm just going to stay in recruiting forever. And I had bigger goals than that. He kept interrupting me. He just wouldn't listen to anything I was wouldn't take my resignation, said I need to think about it before I make a decision.
It's not up to you.
I thought about it for 20 minutes. I went back to my desk and I said, hey, look, I'm done. He sends out this email to the entire company that says, team, Angela has put in her 2-week notice. She feels she did not have the ability to grow into a management position. Therefore, she's moving on to other opportunities.
That's not what she said, sir. She says there is no room for her to grow at the company. Cattivo!
Wish her the best of luck. That's not at all what I said.
I wish you well. In hell.
It was a male-dominated company. I was one of 2 women in my department. So as this email's blasted to the whole company, I have every single manager, everyone messaging me individually like, I can't believe he's saying that about you. That's so horrible. I hope you're okay. You know, good.
Yeah, honestly, embarrassing for him.
And the icing on the cake, had my work husband, who was a lovely, lovely human being. And we met for drinks, and I had told him ahead of time about me leaving. And I found out he was making $18,000 more than me. 18 grand. And he didn't have even close to the numbers I did. He told me that. So not only was I underpaid, but every male in my department was making more than I was, and I didn't know it. So for that president to sit there and tell me how useless I am, waste of time. And funny enough, this was years ago, he would look at my LinkedIn profile every so often, and now I have since been blocked because I would tell stories, but he still would look at it all the time. So here's a reminder, people are always going to hate you, but the fact that he still thinks about me all the time, bless your heart, Jim. Hope you're doing well.
Oh, you live rent-free in his head. Poor Jim, poor Jim. Listen, sometimes I feel like people criticize you so that they don't have to pay you more. Like bosses will make you feel terrible so that they don't need to give you a raise. It's like,
Oh, well, you're doing this, and this wrong, so I don't think that you're eligible for a raise.
I've seen it happen so many times. And it also makes you want to like work harder too. Like it's a tactic, right? The micromanaging thing, like the constant barraging. Like for me, when it was happening to me, like I would bust my because I'm a teacher's pet, like I really, really wanted to do well. I wanted to excel. I wanted to go places in life. So I would bust my okay. And I also had one of those bosses that would like call me at like 7 p.m. on like a weeknight. And like I would get immediate anxiety to the point where even when I left that position, every time I saw his name on my phone, I would get anxiety. It was like traumatic. But even then, like I busted my butt, busted my for this company. And in the end, it was like, why did I do that? What I don't understand is why did he want you there? Why did he want you working if you were such a bad employee? I love that he creeps you, girl. Like, I love that he looks at your LinkedIn profile. That's just great. I would have just hit reply all and said, that's not what I said. Then packed up my stuff and left. Or yeah, just like reply all.
As per our meeting, that's not what I said.
This employee just put on a master class of how to deal with an unreasonable bad boss. Okay, boss says, hey, I need you to come in at 12:07 a.m. It's midnight on a Saturday, and it's your turn to be on call. Boss says he just had a ticket, and he's too tired to run it. Sounds like a personal problem. That's why you're the boss, and you get the big bucks. But hey, that's just me. The employee is not having it. Why do you think I'm not tired? I'm not doing it. Good night. And then here is where the boss pulls the oldest trick in the book, but the employee handles it perfectly. If you don't run this ticket, I will consider you resigned from this position. But the employee is smart and he says, I'm not resigning. You'll have to fire me. Good night. Personally, I think this is hilarious because if the boss really could let this person go, they would have already. But they're clearly short-staffed and he wants other people to do his work for him, so he's not letting an employee go. He called his bluff.
And again, if they fire you, they have to pay you severance. So just be an insubordinate until they do. Just make sure you draw it out for like 3 to 6 months. Like, don't be overtly terrible at your job, but don't be like put in like 65% of the effort that you're capable of. Why are people responding during their off time? That's a good point. Why are we responding during our off time? Why? We don't have to answer, right? Put that phone on Do Not Disturb and do not be disturbed.
This is good.